Hey guys, it's Dave here at Holiday for Two, and right now I am busy working on some new videos, a series that I'm going to be putting out called Must-See RV Destinations. It may seem kind of crazy because it's 6-7 months out in advance, right? But no, a lot of the must-see travel destinations that you might want to go to start booking 6 months out. So here it is. RV must-see destinations for next summer for you and your family to go to. I hope you enjoy these videos. Good luck getting your spots for next summer. Bye.
So someday when my ship comes in, I know just what we'll do. We'll pack our bags and quit our jobs and have a holiday for two.
First must-see destination that I'm doing right now is I'm working on Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone National Park was on my bucket list for many years. It was one of those places that I've never been to in my life. And I said, one of these days, finally, 2019 in December, I went and I booked Yellowstone. And it was in the middle of December 2019. And I hesitated because I thought, oh, that's 6 months away. Why am I jumping on it right now? But you know what? I am so glad that I booked it in December of 2019 because you know what happened a few months later, right? If I would have waited a month or two, I would have probably hesitated and not booked it at all. But it turned out to be a very, very smart decision to book Yellowstone when I did. Because during COVID, the crowds were small, the park was open, and we could see almost anything we wanted to see without the crowds. Plus, the benefit of gas prices being probably the cheapest that we'd ever seen in many years. I think I remember getting gas in Montana or Wyoming for $1.85 a gallon at a couple of stations and stuff. So it turned out, even though it didn't seem like it at the time, it turned out to be a very, very good decision to book that summer. And so in this video, I'm going to be showing you places like the geysers and all the different falls, Yellowstone Falls, and the water, the Yellowstone Lake. Oh my goodness, it was so beautiful. And so just stay tuned, and we're going to take you right now to Yellowstone National Park, #1 on my must-see travel destinations. You'll have a blast. This was the entrance that we took through Cody, and this was an absolutely beautiful drive along the Shoshone River. This particular view is near Wapiti Campground. At the end of the video, I will give you some links to find this campground. Sites are $20 with hookups, $15 with no hookups. Very reasonable. The next day, we got up and drove into Yellowstone, and it was cold. Alright, we just pulled over at the north end of the lake, and it is freaking cold. This is Yellowstone Lake. Our campground's way over there somewhere. Coming over the summit into Yellowstone, we actually had snow falling on us, and that was in June. It was unbelievable. So we continued on to Grant Village Campground, and was I surprised when I got to the campground and I saw bear boxes. Now that's something you don't see in Arizona a lot, bear boxes. That's so you can lock up your food and keep the bears out. This is our lovely campsite, where we're parked. Number 13. And Yellowstone Lake, Grantwood Campground. And all the campgrounds are kind of laid out in pull-throughs. And back that way is the office. And you drive in here, and there's our pull-through spot, number 13. Yep.
We have our little bear box. Food storage. That's our little bear box. Keep the bears out of the food. There's your little locks here. Oops, that one's not locked. But got a little lock. Got our little table. Fire pit. Our little sign on the table says, warning. Food and odors attract bears. So we're all set up. And to a little campsite.
Unfortunately, when we were there in June of 2020, a lot of things were closed due to COVID. But that didn't stop us from having fun. We took a lot of rides, went around the lake, and took some pictures. And I apologize for the wind noise. Some of the videos, I just had to bring the sound down because it was so windy and it was cold, at least for the first day. And this was like June 20th. I was really surprised. And you can see the snow that's still on the mountains. So it was very cold. But we still had a good time. We just bundled up, put our jackets on and our beanie caps, and went out and had fun. And our first long day trip was a trip to Old Faithful. There's Old Faithful. It's supposed to go off in about 40 minutes. Everybody's waiting. Now, we weren't disappointed. Just like they say, if you wait and wait the time, I think it was a 40-minute wait when we sat down and waited, you will be rewarded with Old Faithful taking off. And you can see in this video, it's just about to go. Amazing. One thing I have to share, it's kind of funny. When you're around the geysers, you have the smell of rotten eggs while you're there. It's the sulfur that's coming up from the earth. It creates this rotten egg smell. And so when you're walking around, just be prepared for that. And there she goes. The crowds were light. There was a lot of people there, but it wasn't as crowded as it could have been on a normal June. So just be prepared for crowds. I think in another year or two, the crowds will probably be back to their normal size.
I can smell funny. There's Old Faithful over there. Still spewing a little steam. Geyser Hill.
Another thing I would suggest and recommend is to wear a backpack, bring some water and snacks. The hiking trails are very well established, but give yourself some time, bring your camera, and be prepared to take lots of pictures. There's just some amazing things to see.
This is called Blue Star Spring.
And finally, on our way back to the campground, after a long day at the geysers, we stopped at Kepler Cascades and took some pictures. Another beautiful waterfall. On our second day, we decided to go up to Yellowstone Falls, and we stopped at the mud geysers along the way. Dragon Mouth Springs. I kept expecting Drogon to come out, breathing fire. And this was up in the Hayden Valley. And there were some buffalo, and I don't know where the pictures are. I think I got one picture here of the buffalo. But I think the reason we didn't stop, yeah, there's the one lone buffalo. The one reason we didn't stop was there was a big crowd of people. There was about 15 buffalo in a little small herd, and we didn't want to get mixed up with having buffaloes charging cars and stuff. This was a walk up to Arda Springs. Beautiful, beautiful. I think you can hear me making comments like, oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Not something you see in Arizona all the time.
Wow, there's the river way down there.
Almost any direction you point your camera, it's going to be a great shot. Just beautiful. We went down the trail and then took some more shots of the falls closer to Yellowstone Falls. The crowd, like I said, the crowds were light, and we just had a good time. We packed a lunch, ate our lunch up there, and made a day trip of it. That's the way to Yellowstone, that way. And unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end, and we hated to leave. But the ride back was absolutely beautiful. As the Grand Tetons. We went down through the Grand Tetons by Coulter Bay. And Coulter Bay. Unfortunately, there was no wind, and the weather had started to warm up by then. Just incredible beauty everywhere you look. Unbelievable. That's the Snake River. And we're heading down into Jenny Lake, I think is where we're heading. Eventually Alpine. From there we made our way on into Idaho for our next stop. Now in the next video I'm going to show you some ways to get into the park, things to do, and some of the campgrounds that we saw while we were there. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to give you a brief overview of Yellowstone National Park. I'm going to show you campgrounds to look for. I'm going to show you ways to get into the park and things to do while you're there. So let's get started. When my wife and I traveled there in 2020, we came in through the east entrance, which was through Cody. But Cody is just the east entrance. There's also basically 5 ways to get into Yellowstone. There's the southern route through Moran, Coulter Bay, and up from the south. There's the western entrance through West Yellowstone, the northern entrance to Gardner, and there's also the northeast entrance through the 212. Those are the ones that I think are the main ones. There's another road here, the 296, but I would be very wary of taking that one. I'm not familiar with that and can't vouch for it, and not sure what the condition of that road is. So there's 5 basic ways to get in. We came in through the east entrance in Cody. And we really liked that. It was nice and a quiet way to get in. We were able to get gas and supplies and groceries in Cody. There's a couple stores you can stop at. I know there's a Walmart right on the west side of Cody here. And some of the Walmart here, I believe this Walmart even allows overnight stays. So you might, if you're into that, you might want to check that out. We stayed here at a little town or a little village called Wapiti, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And there's a campground right here called Wapiti Campground. And it's a nice little campground. I'll click on that for you and show you a little bit more about Wapiti Campground. There are definitely other campgrounds here like Elk Fork, Big Game Campground. It just happens to be we stayed at Wapiti. And Wapiti is $20 a night for a single unit with electricity, $15 a night for a single unit with no electricity. And it's a really nice little campground. And so just giving you a heads up on that if you're interested in finding a spot to stay. And I think in the video there was an overhead drone shot that I did of Wapiti near the Shoshone River. Really pretty through there. And then the next day we came into Yellowstone through the 14. And we stayed at Grant Village Campground, which is right over here on the southwest portion of the lake, Grant Village. And let me zoom in on that for you. Grant Village Campground is right in here, just north of the village center. Now, Grant Village Campground is a great campground if your rig is 25, 30 feet or less. Without getting really technical, that's all I will say. Our camper, our motorhome is 25 foot and we were pulling a Jeep Wrangler 4-door. So if that sounds about your size, then the spots in there I think will accommodate you. There are some pictures of rigs that we've seen, rigs in there that were like 30-foot trailers and stuff. It's a little bit tight. So if you're bigger than that, I would recommend staying at another campground on the north side up here. Let me zoom in here. It's called Fishing Bridge. And this is a newer campground that is set up more for, how they say it on the website, hard-sided rigs. And this park is a little bit newer, and it has 30 amp, 50 amp hookups. And it is also has a gas station right here, and it is really set up for larger motorhomes. That's why it's I think it's also the only RV park in the whole Yellowstone that has hookups, power hookups, I believe. And so those are the two, that Fishing Village, Grant Village, and of course Wapiti were the 3 campgrounds that we stayed in. And there are so many things to stay and see, and when you're staying here in Yellowstone Park, we went up to the geysers over here and saw Old Faithful. You'll see those in the video. And then we also stopped and visited some of the other sites along the back, coming back from the park. That was a day trip. Just going up to Old Faithful and spending time around there, that was a day trip. I would plan for a whole day to do that. And then the next day, when we went up through this area, went up through Canyon Village, and this was absolutely beautiful drive through here. Hayden Valley, absolutely beautiful. I think a couple of pictures that I took in the video were from Hayden Valley, where we saw some buffalo right in between Hayden Valley Overlook and Hayden Valley at Alum Creek. There's a particular time that we were there, there was buffalo all along this stretch of highway. And then we stopped and visited here at the falls, Yellowstone Falls. And there's a parking area right here. You can hike up. You can also drive up to Arda's Point. Very beautiful right there. And that's where some of the videos were taken that I showed in the video. You can also go around the other side, and there's more stuff on the other side that you can see. Just a beautiful, beautiful drive to go up there, and plan on a day trip to go up there. There's so much to see. So that was 2 full days plus the day coming in, and we just had a ball. So, one last note. If you come in through the south entrance, through the Grand Tetons, we left through this exit. We came out through the Grand Tetons, but if you come in through this gate, you will have to pay twice. You'll have to pay the entrance fee to the Grand Teton National Park. You will also then have to pay entrance fee to Yellowstone. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that. You will be charged twice, once for Grand Tetons and then once for Yellowstone Park. If you come in through one of the other entrances like West Yellowstone or through Cody or from the north, you will only have to pay the Yellowstone National Park fee, which I believe was about $30 to $35. When you exit this way, you won't have to pay the fee to go through. All right, so just a heads up on that. And hope you have fun traveling to Yellowstone. See you later.